Jack Simmons was a highly skilled and experienced firefighter, a man who had earned the respect of his peers through his unwavering commitment to saving lives. A burly figure with a strong square jaw and piercing blue eyes, Jack exuded confidence and authority. Beneath his tough exterior, however, he harbored a deep-rooted vulnerability and a sense of guilt that stemmed from his inability to save everyone from the ravages of fire. 11 years ago, a raging fire consumed a rundown apartment building in the heart of the city. The night was cold and unforgiving, as if the universe itself had turned its back on the desperate souls trapped within the inferno. Amidst the screams and the thick choking smoke, Jack and his team bravely plunged into the fiery abyss, their sole mission to save as many lives as possible. As Jack made his way through the smoke-filled corridors, he could hear the screams of people trapped inside, their pleas for help echoing through the rapidly disintegrating structure. The heat was unbearable and the air was thick with ash and debris, making it difficult for Jack to see more than a few feet in front of him. With each step, the floorboards groaned beneath his weight, threatening to give way and send him plummeting into the inferno below. Jack moved cautiously but quickly, knowing that time was running out for the people trapped inside. He could feel the building structure weakening, and he knew that it wouldn't be long before it succumbed to the flames. It was there in the crumbling heart of the building that Jack found her, a tiny trembling girl no older than 6, with wide fearful eyes and a tangle of brown hair. Clutching a tattered blanket to her chest, she looked up at Jack as if he were her last hope. The sight of her struck a chord deep within him, and he knew he had to save her, no matter the cost. As he reached down to scoop the girl into his arms, a loud crack reverberated through the room, and the floor beneath them shifted ominously. Jack's heart raced as he realized that the floor was about to collapse. He quickly shifted his weight to a more stable section of the floor, pulling the girl close to his chest as the boards beneath them splintered and fell away, leaving a gaping hole that revealed the raging fire below. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Jack held the girl tight and began to make his way back to the building's entrance, carefully navigating the treacherous terrain of the collapsing structure. The floor continued to groan and buckle beneath him, and he knew that it was only a matter of time before the entire building caved in on itself. As they inched their way forward, the girl buried her face in Jack's shoulder, her small body trembling with fear. He could feel her heart pounding against his chest, and he whispered words of reassurance to her, vowing to get her to safety no matter what it took. The acrid smoke burned their lungs with each breath, and Jack knew they needed to get out as quickly as possible. With the last of his strength, he pushed through the smoldering debris and emerged into the open air, choking and gasping for breath. As he handed the girl over to the waiting paramedics, she coughed violently from the smoke inhalation, her small body racked with the effort. Her wide, fearful eyes locked onto Jack's, and in a hoarse whisper she asked, "Where's my mom and dad?" Jack's heart ached at her question, and he struggled to find the right words to say. He knew that he had been unable to save her parents, but he couldn't bear to tell her the truth just yet. Before he could find an answer, a paramedic stepped in, gently placing an oxygen mask over the girl's face to help her breathe more easily. As the girl took deep, ragged breaths through the mask, her eyes remained fixed on Jack's, searching for an answer that he couldn't give. It tore him apart to see her so vulnerable and afraid, and he wished more than anything that he could have done more to save her family. The weight of that knowledge settled heavily on his chest, a burden that he would carry with him for the rest of his life. As the paramedics began to move the girl towards the ambulance, Jack reached out and squeezed her hand reassuringly, offering her a small, sad smile. The weight of his guilt gnawed at him, causing him to seek solace in the numbing embrace of alcohol. Despite his growing drinking problem, Jack continued to excel in his career, earning accolades and promotions along the way. Medals and commendations lined the walls of his apartment, but they meant nothing to him. They were a hollow reminder of the lives he had saved, forever overshadowed by the ones he had lost. His personal life remained marred by loneliness, his heart forever scarred by the lives he couldn't save. Nightmares haunted his sleep, vivid and terrible memories of the fire that had taken the girl's parents, replaying in his mind each night, leaving him exhausted and hollow. One day, a new firefighter named Emily joined the fire station. Eager and enthusiastic, she made it a point to introduce herself to everyone, including Jack. When she approached him with a bright smile and an outstretched hand, she noticed the haunted look in his eyes, the weight of his guilt and sorrow evident even to a newcomer. "Hi, I'm Emily," she said, trying to sound upbeat despite the somber air around Jack. "I've heard a lot about your incredible work here. It's an honor to meet you." Jack forced a weak smile and shook her hand, but his eyes remained distant, as if he were lost in another world. Sensing that something was wrong, Emily hesitated for a moment before asking gently, "Are you alright, Jack? You seem troubled." Jack sighed and rubbed a hand across his weary face, the weight of his past bearing down on him. "It's a long story, Emily, but thank you for asking," he replied quietly, his voice heavy with regret. Emily nodded, understanding that she had touched on a sensitive subject. With a small supportive smile, she said, "Well, if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. We're all in this together, right?" Jack looked at her for a moment, his lips twitched with effort as he tried to smile, but it was just something he couldn't do. He walked away from her without another word, his hand clenched into a fist as if he was gripping a beer bottle, the familiar comfort he sought in his darkest moments. On one particular Saturday morning, Jack was off duty and decided to take a leisurely walk through the park to clear his mind. The park was bustling with activity, and as he strolled through the green space, he came across a small art exhibition. Dozens of artists showcased their work, each canvas displaying unique and vibrant scenes. Jack found himself drawn to the various paintings, his eyes lingering on one that had depicted a happy family enjoying a picnic in the park. It was a stark contrast to the solitude and sadness that filled his own life. As he studied the piece, a male artist approached him, eager to strike up a conversation. "Beautiful, isn't it? I'm Tom, the artist behind this piece. What do you think?" he asked, gesturing towards the family portrait. Jack nodded, acknowledging the artist, but before he could muster a response, his gaze fell upon another painting that stirred something deep within him, a depiction of a firefighter emerging from a burning building and a small child cradled in his arms. The piece was titled Salvation. Tom noticed a sudden shift in Jack's attention and followed his gaze to the Salvation painting. "Ah, that one's quite a powerful piece," he remarked. "It's amazing how art can capture the intensity of a moment like that, don't you think?" Jack, unable to tear his eyes away from the painting, nodded again, his voice barely above a whisper, "Yeah, it really is." The memories of that night flooded back, as vivid and painful as ever. The fire, the smoke, the child he saved, and the parents he couldn't. The painting held him captive, forcing him to confront the ghosts of his past that haunted him relentlessly. Jack turned to Tom, still curious about the artist behind the poignant piece. "Who painted this?" he asked, his voice filled with both admiration and curiosity. Tom glanced towards a young girl who was observing the crowd's reactions. "That would be Lily," he said, pointing in her direction. "She's a talented young artist and that piece means a lot to her." Lily stood nearby, nervously watching the reactions of the people viewing her art. Her eyes locked onto Jack's as he approached her. There was an instant, powerful connection between them, as if the universe had conspired to bring them together once more. "Did you paint this?" Jack asked, his voice barely above a whisper, as if he were too afraid to break the spell of the moment. Lily nodded, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. "Yes, it's based on my own experience. A firefighter saved me from a burning building when I was a child. I never got a chance to thank him." Jack's heart caught in his throat as he studied the painting, the scene so eerily similar to his own memory. Slowly, he extended a hand to Lily, offering her the chance to see the scars that marred his arms, the marks left by the fire that bound their fates together. "I was the one who saved you, Lily," he confessed, his voice thick with emotion. "I've never forgotten your face, and I've always hoped you were all right." Lily's eyes filled with tears as she reached out to touch the scars, tracing the lines that told the story of her salvation. The realization that the man who had saved her life now stood before her was overwhelming, and she threw her arms around Jack, her gratitude and relief spilling forth. In the weeks that followed, Jack and Lily forged a bond that transcended their shared history. They became confidants, supporting and inspiring one another to confront the demons that plagued them. Through Lily, Jack found the strength to confront his guilt and his drinking problem, seeking help and reclaiming control over his life. In turn, Jack became a steadfast presence in Lily's life, the father figure she had longed for since losing her parents in the fire. As the months passed, Jack and Lily grew even closer, finding solace in their shared pain and their unwavering commitment to helping one another heal. The people around them noticed the profound impact of their relationship, and they marveled at the way fate had conspired to reunite the firefighter and the girl he had saved so many years ago. While Jack and Lily continued to forge their own paths, they did so with the knowledge they had found an indelible connection in one another, a bond that transcended time, loss, and pain. And though they knew that life would continue to challenge them, They faced each day with hope, resilience, and the unwavering belief that they would never again face the darkness alone. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up to share the message, and don't forget to check out the recommended video on your screen. It's sure to leave you feeling inspired. We'll be back soon with more uplifting content, so stay tuned and have a wonderful day.